Alrighty, so we are back and in the presence of greatness. We have Rex with All Freedom Bail Bonds with us. How you doing, Rex?
Thrilled to be here.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely thrilled?
Absolutely thrilled. We've been talking about this for a while.
Been talking about it for a minute.
Yep.
How's your champagne?
It's so good.
Our gracious our host has given Lydia some samples of champagne.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
So
champagne? There's a wine.
It's wine.
Oh, it's wine.
Rosé.
Yeah. So thank you. So here we are, finally doing this podcast that we've been talking about forever.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Rex. No, I'm a bail bondsman here in North Idaho. I've been doing bail bonds for right around 17 years. We're actually at my house right now. 3 dogs. I'm married. Have 1 beautiful child. Have 2 good friends here, Scott and Lydia. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of exciting stuff about me. Doing bail bonds. I look forward to this podcast. You guys will end up learning quite a bit about me and my crazy way of thinking.
So over the past couple of years of working with you, a lot of the people that watch the YouTube stuff watch this. It's your ex-wife that we arrested 4 times, and she's currently on the run with warrants, right?
On the run in Washington State.
And nobody looking for her.
Nobody cares. It's Idaho probation, so
They have no teeth.
nothing. And it's too bad. That person, here's a little bit of background with Megan. Everybody's like, oh, it's your ex-wife, Most of the comments on YouTube were positive, thank goodness. I had a few haters on there. Here's the deal, people, is I try not to hate anybody. My ex-wife, granted, not my favorite person. But I'm in a competitive business in a competitive town, and I'm not giving any money away to my competitors. So when she came at me to bond out, as long as everything was good, I bonded her. I sat her down. I explained to her the first time, please don't miss. We're not married. We're not even really friends. Let's keep this professional and understand that if you do not show up to court, I will come after you. And we did the first time. And we thought, okay, well, that's dumb. Recorded that. Pretty good video, I thought. It was.
Well, didn't she miss one time prior to that and rescheduled?
I don't know if that's the case. It's been so long ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep the videos. And I didn't really refresh myself with the videos. And I probably should have before.
She went to jail each time.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that part. But as far as circumstances on her first one, how she missed, she may have missed, and I may have given her the opportunity to rebond at that time. I don't really remember, but it was after she missed the second time. It's time to go to jail. That's the deal. You don't go to court. I'm not paying your bond, whether it be $2,000 or $20,000. I'm not paying it. That's not my deal. My deal is to hire people to go out and find people who don't like to go to court.
And every single time you told her, you screw up again, your bond's going to go to $5,000.
Yeah.
You screw up again, it's going to go to $10,000. You screw up again, and in exactly what you said in the first video happened in each one. And you were done with her after the second time.
Yeah, after the second time, because I was dumb enough to bond her twice. But like I said, they came at me with all the money. It was a good co-signer. It was good. It's not like she's too hard to find. She was one of these people who thinks she's smarter than everybody, but she's really not. Her brain, it's too bad about her. She was a really nice person when I originally met her, but she got into drugs. You can take a look at her and tell her whole life is involved and revolves around drugs. She used to be very pretty. Now I look at her and I'm like, what in the fuck? And then even talking to her, she's just not a nice person. And everything is everybody else's fault. It doesn't matter what it is. She has delusions of grandeur. Something's happened to my daughter. Something's happening to me. We're being attacked by aliens.
Yeah, I remember when I was feeling really guilty, I think the third time or the second time.
It was at the house.
And you had to pull me aside because
It was the second time.
Was it the second time?
Because he still had her out on bail at that time.
The second time. And I was just feeling so bad because I was honestly like, oh my gosh, something happened to her daughter. You know, her daughter started crying, but her daughter knows the drill. When her mom's going to jail, they all know how to play the system. And so I was feeling really guilty and really sorry for her. And then thankfully, like, you saw me like wanting to like, we should just give her a chance. And then you pulled me aside like, no, this lady is psycho. And then like by the third time, like, holy shit, she is really psycho.
Well, you could see you could see a little bit of her psycho come out when we had her in cuffs in the office the second time.
Yeah.
Well, if I could just call the judge.
Yeah, I'm calling the judge. I want to have it. I need to call the judge now.
Yeah, I will, just for fun. I'm going to let you call the judge. You know,
and like you said, it was never her fault.
No.
It was something that happened with her daughter. It was her ex-husband, this guy that she was involved with. It was the court's fault. They sent it to the wrong address. It was never her fault. And as being an adult, you would think like, you know, I fucked up, I messed up, you know. No, it was never her fault. And then when I did see her, when I was driving home and I saw her on the side of I was like, I am so sure that's her because she has the shades in her hair. And yeah, I was like, well, I was like the last one of us to see her.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, out of all the videos that we've done, what's your favorite video?
Besides those?
Besides those.
I really did enjoy, and it's one that really did get a whole lot of views, which I was surprised. But the one where we went up to Montana with the guy with the crutches.
the guy that was
stenosis.
The guy that was crutch tough.
Yeah, spinal stenosis.
I'm gonna kick all your asses.
Yeah, I've got spinal stenosis. You know, and I'm like, geez, bro. You know, if it wouldn't have been for his wife, though, I got to give it. I mean, he wasn't so bad. He's obviously had some mental issues as well, but he was one of my favorite videos because I remember once we got him in the car, I realized everything was going to be okay and stuff like that. It wasn't so bad. It was just listening to him talk, and he was.
You were the good cop, and Jax and I were the bad cops.
Yeah, which is fine.
You too. I'm gonna kick your ass, but you're okay.
You're cool. You got a little dog. You know, that's I'm like, oh my god.
That's all he remembered was the little dog.
Yeah, and I'm, trying to explain to the guy, and I feel bad for each one, especially in a situation like that. I don't necessarily want him to take him to jail, but I can't fix you can't fix stupid. If you miss court, you go to jail. Man.
What about that lady that we called you at like midnight, and she's like, "But Rex, please."
Oh, that's Karina.
Yeah, that was drinking and driving.
Yeah, you were waiting at the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she pulled up. She did some really shady shit, and then she's pulled the keys out of her car, was sitting in her driveway, and it was a Taco Bell cup, but it was all booze and it was all vodka.
No,
it was vodka and Mike's mango.
Mango. She mixed those two together.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's a party waiting to happen.
Yeah. She was a trip. Is she all done now? Because I know you got her back out.
Yeah, she's done with all her shit. She still owes me money. Typical.
Everybody owes you money.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I said. And right now with coronavirus 2020 going on, it's hard to collect. It's hard to do anything with these guys.
So what are you doing with your quarantine time?
I'd like to say productive things.
You watching Tiger King?
Oh, yeah. Well, who hasn't seen Tiger King? It's all that bitch Carol Baskin's fault. That bitch Carol Baskin, you want to shut me down? Let me tell you something. Yeah, Joe Exotic's the man.
Oh,
I was shocked he won 19% governor for Oklahoma.
Well, I was looking online, and I went to Carol Baskin's Facebook, and I went to her YouTube and stuff, and everybody's like, you were portrayed so wrong. You're such a victim. We love you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the person I hate the most in the whole series. Is that right? Carol Baskin bitch? Yeah, it's like you killed your husband.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Yeah, loved it. Loved the whole thing. The cast of characters in that thing is just unreal.
And the one guy's got the gay compound, and the other guy's got all the young girl compound.
Yeah,
it's like too far extreme.
Yeah.
A thing that was so funny is when he was talking about his going to school and talking about like drugs are bad for you. And then right after that, his husband, the one with the really bad teeth, started talking, and Scott's like, "What happened to his teeth?" And like, he didn't say no to drugs, and we just started cracking, like, laughing. We were laughing like for 5 minutes.
He's got his teeth fixed now, though.
Joe Exotic, what a guy.
Property of Joe Exotic.
Yeah, good Lord.
Oh.
I can't, but I've been binging a lot of TV. You know, of course, anything on Netflix that comes up like that, and all of a sudden, I didn't even know anything about it, and I just kept seeing all these memes online, and I'm like, what in the hell is this all about?
Yeah.
And finally, I checked it out, you know, #1 on Netflix, and because I really enjoyed that Making a Murder documentary a couple years back or whatever, and I was like, well, we'll check this out. And the second I saw it and you heard Joe Exotic's voice, I just couldn't help it.
I was really leery to watch it because...
And that doc guy, when they walk in, when he first show him he's riding an elephant.
like, I was really...
Dude, he's got it going on, though, dude.
All his wives.
Well, you know, hey, if you're going to be a crazy weirdo,
do it right.
You might as well have a harem. You know what I mean? Not that I would, you know, I'm married. I've been married a long time. And my biggest fear is picking up another girlfriend. I couldn't even imagine having a wife and a girlfriend trying to tell me what to do. One is enough.
What were you going to say?
No, just I was really like, didn't really want to watch, you know, Tiger King because there's that show on Netflix, Don't Fuck with Cats.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
I thought that was bizarre. I only saw half.
It was weird. Yeah, I only saw half of it. I refused to finish it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I read, you know, the Tiger King. It says madness, mayhem, and murder or something.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, here's another one, but it's actually it's quite funny.
Yeah. Well, that's the comedy of
It's so stupid. It's so entertaining.
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Joe Exotic. I mean, seriously, you want to talk about you know who Joe Exotic reminds me of that we know? Animal.
What is that noise?
I don't know.
Animal?
Yep. Tell me I'm wrong. He builds his own
animal.
builds his own character, self promotes.
And yeah, and want to know what's so funny is Joe. He has a great voice for singing.
That's not him singing.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's been proven.
Oh my gosh, I was like, why does that sound? But then like Animal, when we were at the bar and he started singing, Animal has an interesting voice when he sings.
Like karaoke?
Yeah, and then when he sings karaoke, it was like perfect. So.
Oh, you should have seen when we were in Vegas and we went to Heart Attack Cafe in Vegas, and it was Jackson, Sam, and me, and Animal decides to sing karaoke in the middle of the restaurant, and he sang. What the fuck was it? God, I wish I could remember something like Bad to the Bone or something like that. But Sam, I thought was gonna die, dude. That kid turned bright red, started sweating. It was great. It's just Animal being Animal.
Yeah, I have the video of him singing at Jackson's birthday.
Oh yeah.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
So, did you catch the new season of Ozarks? Have you watched?
I'm not an Ozark fan.
No?
No, I think I got to give it another shot. I watched part of the first season, but if I remember right, I was involved in something else at the time, so I didn't actually finish watching it with Stacy. I have a hard time with anything that's too, too dramedy type based. I like to watch stupid, mindless television. Reality TV is my favorite. I can't help it. Anything that I don't really have to think about shit when I watch it and just laugh and be like, what?
Yeah,
Oh, there you go, Joe.
Exotic.
Yeah,
Joe Exotic.
that's where I wanted to first. I was like, what? And, you know, for example, The Challenge comes on tonight MTV.
That's cool.
I'm all about that shit. You know what I mean? So.
Well, like with Scott, he likes Narcos and he likes all those drug lords and Ozark.
See, I like those too. But I don't
Too
even
much
know
reading.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what Ozarks is though. I know it's Jason Bateman.
Yeah, it's Jason Bateman, and he launders money for the Mexican cartel.
Oh.
And he's at the casino.
And then the first season, and he's just trying to keep his family alive because he knows when it ends, it's going to end really bad. So he's just always working these hustles. And there's this little girl they call Shirley Temple. When they're mad at her, Ruth's her name, and she's one of my favorite characters in that, just because she's just a little firecracker and just speaks her mind and runs her mouth and survives. You don't know how she's not ended
and
up
her
in.
southern accent is so funny.
Yeah, see,
When she cusses, it's like so funny.
Yeah. So
I didn't like the first season. It was really weird. And I have this
Maybe I'll give it
thing.
another shot.
Yeah, I have this thing. Like the whole Ozark, they're filming, it's always dark.
it's super dark. It's
Oh.
Dark, and that drives me crazy. Like they're out, you see the sun, but it's like a blue color. It's
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
annoying. But that's the only problem I have with it. Like I didn't watch the second season. I didn't.
I've got to. I'm rewatching The Mandalorian as well.
Baby
for Baby Yoda.
Yeah, and just because I feel like I slept through quite a bit of it, and I'm like, well, I better give this another shot.
So that music tells us that we need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more from Rex with All Freedom Bail Bonds. Oh, keep the mic in at the perfect cough. So, hey, we're back with Rex Taylor, All Freedom Bail Bonds in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Yeah.
So, you practicing your social distancing?
I'm having a great time with it, actually. You guys are probably the first people I've seen in 2 weeks. Tony and I have agreed to stay away from each other just in case. It's been a dream come true.
I was gonna say, is that a bad thing?
Yeah, no. But Jax has been really good. I got to give him props. He's 21 years old. He's pretty much put his life on hold because he knows that both Stacy has the autoimmune deficiency thing going on, and then I'm asthmatic and blah blah blah. So we're a little bit higher risk. So we're just taking it as easy as we can.
Yeah, Lydia was like, let's do this by phone. And then, like, it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, you guys quarantine pretty good, too. I mean, you can only live in fear so long, man. And I believe there's shit going on out there, and I believe that it's something, but if we let fear dictate our lives, then, it ain't worth living.
So here we are. We're in Rex's kitchen in his house in Coeur d'Alene. So what do you think of? Did you hear that Utah passed a bill that pretty much knocked out almost all of bail, and now they're practicing the same stuff, that score system, to where they're scoring people? Did you hear about that?
I did hear just a little bit about that. I haven't actually done my research on that yet because right now everything is just kind of chaos because of this. Because of this weird quarantine thing that's going on. My big problem, and I'll get back around to your question, is that nobody really knows what's going on. What are the actual rules of our quarantine? What are anything? So the police aren't arresting as many people, which means there are less bonds for me, which means that everybody's just in limbo. They're not exactly thrilled to take people, though. I guess they are taking people still at the jail. My surety company is all working remotely and telling me to back off of forfeitures and file motions to extend them, which they're granting right now, no problem. But it's hurting a whole industry. So right now with Utah doing what they're doing, and California, which has already done what they've done, and New York and all that, right now my major concern is Idaho, where I work. And I can tell you that business is down a little bit, and I expect that. And we just got to weather this storm and see what's happening. I know for a fact that I know this for a fact, that DUIs are getting arrested, taken to jail, and getting released. That happened to a friend of mine last night. I know for a fact that they just let a bunch of inmates out of the Kootenai County Jail who were low risk and had low bonds because they're scared of this.
Well, they said they were going to do that.
Right.
I read that at the Coeur d'Alene Press said that they were going to, anybody that had been in, there's a funny part to this. Anybody that had been in jail, or had been sentenced to less than 60 days, they were going to let them out early. And the funny thing is those people that are sitting in there with bonds are the people that you're not going to bail out. They're the people that you won't bail out, that Chris won't bail out, that Allied won't bail out, and now they're out, and they're not going to show up to court.
Yeah, well, and that's it. All of us are hoping that we'll catch them on the flip side. Any of these ones they're letting out earlier because they can't, my biggest fear is that Idaho decides this is the greatest way ever to do this and loves it. Well, this is great. We'll just do this, and that'll totally kill my business within 30 days. My business would have been killed. I'm gonna have to do something else. I'll keep the bail bond company forever, but it won't be how it was. And it's just another step in the evolution and stuff like that. That's why.
You going to go back into the restaurant business? Let's talk a little bit about that.
I would rather drag my balls through 100 miles of broken glass.
So you owned a restaurant bar, or was it a bar restaurant?
It was more a restaurant bar resort thing on the lake. It had boat docks, convenience store, ice cream store. Those parts I didn't actually buy out. That was supposed to be on the other side of the deal if we enjoyed doing the bar and restaurant. And so what we did was we just did the restaurant bar, turned it into a lunch dinner place, opened at 10 for the bar, of course. Anybody can have alcohol after 10 in Idaho. Bloody Marys were a big seller. And just went from there. Well, the guy we ended up leasing from with option to buy decided he was going to build a sandwich shop inside our restaurant so he could sell sandwiches while I was serving lunch. It was a fucked up deal. So part of that made it very difficult for us to enjoy and be successful. We ran it pretty successfully, and we had our option to buy, and we thought about it because we would end up buying the whole property, but we just decided it wasn't for us. It was too much work. I'm not trying to work that hard.
Just think of where that would be right now.
It would be fucked.
Your overhead would, employees, everybody would be on hold.
Yeah.
Not that the bail bond business is any better.
No, but it was seasonal. It was a seasonal restaurant, so I only opened in summertime anyway. I was open 4 or 5 months, depending on how the weather was. Like last year, when we did it, I was looking through my Facebook and it showed memories and stuff, and we opened up by this time when we did it, but the weather was 70 degrees that year, and people were already out boating and stuff, and then we didn't really start banging out till after Memorial Day. So we had 45 days to get kind of our systems down and figure out our, point of sale system. And
do you miss any of that?
I miss all kinds of chaos. I thrive in chaos. So the more chaotic, the better. So it was fun, but I put a lot of hours into that, man. And so did Stacy. I was there every day before they opened, 2 hours before they opened. I stayed every night till after the bar closed. And then I'd either drive back to Coeur d'Alene or just say, fuck it, and camp out at Harrison and sleep in my car, take a shower there, I miss that stuff. And I enjoyed working with a lot of my crew, a lot of more younger people and, seasonal kids who wanted jobs and couldn't figure, it was their first job. So I enjoyed helping them out and stuff. So there's a lot I enjoyed, and there's a lot that was not enjoyable. Figuring out food costs, dealing with your staff, doing your alcohol costs, dealing with thieving bartenders, dealing with the owner was no joy. But it sure was. There was a lot of good, a lot of bad. I'd never do it again, though. It's too much.
Didn't you invent the Idaho nachos or something similar?
Well, we could take credit for that. Capone's has them now, too. We were looking for something original to do other than just a regular nacho plate. So we came up with French fries and cheese and just nachos on fries, basically. And turns out that it may not have been the most original idea.
Did you do them on waffle fries like Capone's did?
Yeah, we did. We also put them on tater tots for a while too.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah, and we had a big. People liked them on tater tots.
I owned a business, advertising agency, and our accountant's husband, who's since passed, he invented the tater tot. He was a food scientist, invented the tater tot.
God bless that man.
I know, right?
Where would we be without the tater tot? We wouldn't have a funny scene in Napoleon Dynamite. So this is pretty casual. So what do you do? What do you do when you're not writing bonds? And I know you're a big gamer.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm a casino guy. I like to play poker. I play a lot of poker. I travel around.
You do quite well, don't you?
I do all right. Enough that my wife lets me travel around and play poker, and it doesn't really take away from any of our work money.
What's your favorite kind of poker to play?
Oh, I play a lot of Hold'em. I can play Omaha's fun too. I play that. Those are the main two I play. Among friends, I play 5-card draw and all that kind of stuff, and I play a little bit of stud. But to play in a casino, I really enjoy Hold'em, mostly because I enjoy the betting strategy in it.
You've won a few tournaments, correct?
Oh yeah, I've won. Yeah, I've won quite a few tournaments actually. All the local tournaments I've won at least once here in Spokane. Northern Quest puts on one once a month. That's a bigger buy-in where it's $500 buy-in and it's always packed, and the main prize is $12,000 usually, and I've won that a couple times. And I just recently traveled to Pendleton to play at their poker table. Because they've got a big springtime tournament called Spring Roundup that I was going to do, but they appear not to be open.
Yeah, there's not much open. But what about online gaming? You do PlayStation, right?
Yeah, I'm a PlayStation guy. So
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Fortnite. Right now, I'm really into Fortnite, and I can't explain why. Maybe it's because I like dominating little 13-year-olds.
Playing with a bunch of 10-year-olds.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, those little bastards are ruthless. You know what I mean? Straight ruthless. Especially when they start talking shit online. But it's a fun game. Like I said, one of those mindless things where you're basically running around shooting and killing people. Not a whole lot to it. So as long as you're smart, it's a fun game. Jax is, we've been playing Call of Duty online.
Yeah, she plays Call of Duty, and everybody hears it's a girl on the speaker.
Oh yeah, they should hate
and
you.
They do.
And then
Yep, no girl
she
gamers.
finds fans.
Yeah.
She finds fans, people that watch the YouTube page.
So
Nice.
I was playing Rainbow Six Siege, and this kid, he's like, "Your voice sounds so familiar." And I was like, "Okay, that's just weird." And he's like, "Have you played games with me before?" I'm like, "If I did, I forgot you. Like, I don't remember people to play games with." He's like, "No, hold on." And then he disappears, and then he sends me a message. He's like, "You're that bounty hunter's wife from Bounty Hunter Bootcamp." And I'm like, yeah, that was just so weird. But then I stopped playing online with people because a lot of guys get like disgusting. And
Oh yeah, that's what they do.
There was this one guy, he's just saying nasty stuff. I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, I'm straight." He's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm a guy." I'm like, "Oh, you sound like a pussy to me." and then he just went off, and I was like, whatever.
That's the greatest thing ever.
I know, like, if they talk to me, like, it's okay. They could talk to you however they want, but if you like stand up for yourself and say something, they're like, it's like the end of the world.
Oh yeah. Well, I got an education on that last night actually. I was Jax is playing Call of Duty and he's on a squad, and I'm sitting there just listening to him because I got up. It was midnight or something. I'd already been to bed. I woke up, wanted a cigarette or whatever the hell I wanted, and went out there, and he is just cussing up a storm. "Oh, you fucking guy, blah, 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 you girl, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, what in the, what are you talking about, Jax? And he's like, "That's just how you talk to girls online. They shouldn't even be here." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm not the only one who does it." I'm like, "You are, yeah, what a prick." So I guess, sorry, Lydia, that's how girls get talked to online.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, it's just
He's
a
like, it's the
game.
wasteland.
It's a game. I mean, was he getting beat by the girl? That's why he was.
Honestly, I don't know. But I asked him, he's like, it's just a wasteland out there, Dad. That's the way it is.
I couldn't imagine what it's like with the quarantining and self-isolation. Nobody in school. I got off. I was playing online for a while, and we talk about it sometimes on lives and stuff. And I'm like, "Well, what's your gamer name?" I'm like, "Nah, dude,
Yeah.
I'd rather play by myself and do a task by
Yeah.
myself than be with a bunch of idiots that are going to shoot you or stab you in the back." And they just walk up to you and shoot you, and it's like, "Well, we're supposed to be working as a team,
Yeah.
fucker. What the hell?"
Yeah, they've got a problem with that right now. There's a lot of squad infighting right now. So if someone gets too far ahead, they'll waste them so they don't get too many points.
It's all these people living in grandma's basement with zero consequences.
Uh-huh.
They were a problem before quarantining.
Yeah.
No, they got this quarantine down though because they don't have a life doing it.
Well, yeah, this is like a dream come true for these guys. Some of them.
Well, everybody's telling, how you doing with social distancing? My life has been social distancing.
Yeah.
When I'm home, nobody's allowed over. I don't want anybody, there's so much drama and chaos in bail bonds, as you know. When you get home, you just want to unplug and you don't want to have any human interaction other than with your friends. Other than that, it's like, no, man, I'm not interested. I don't want all that other bullshit because I've got it every day at work.
Yeah, there's people who message me, how are you and Scott doing with this quarantine, because you guys travel a lot. Is it something? I'm like, no, I love it at least because we're home.
Our dogs are happy.
Our dogs.
Yeah, right.
The whole nation of dogs are happy that their owners are home.
Yeah.
And then when we leave, like he went downstairs this morning and Freddie just started freaking out, howling. He's like, don't leave me. I think he was just scared of me. But it's this, people are like asking, like, how are we doing? And it's fine. I miss going out eating at restaurants or,
Right.
like going out with you, doing things together. I miss that.
Well, it's hard, there's, for the most part, it's pretty easy. I'm the same way you guys are. Social distancing, yeah, big whoop. Even when we come home sometimes, if Stacy's got homework going on, I just go out in the garage and deal with it until she's done, and that works out good for us. But, social distancing, gotta love it.
Yeah. So you want to stick with us for the last segment?
Let's do it.
Alrighty. We'll be right back. So we are back. Did you hear NASA's looking for astronauts?
Nice.
And they got 120,000 applications?
I did not hear that.
Yeah. How'd you like that How'd you like that bumper music?
I thought that was sublime. I felt like it was 1992.
So final 15 minutes here. Anything? Lydia has a question for you.
Oh.
Since it is April Fool's.
Oh. Well, it's not really a question. I'm just really curious. So, a red rooster is like a black rooster, right? They're the same. So, how many eyes does the black rooster have? I'm really curious. How many eyes?
2.
Okay, how many wings?
Probably 2.
Okay, how many feet?
2.
Okay. Do you know how many whiskers a white cat has?
9.
9? You sure it's 9? You positive it's 9?
Yeah, absolutely. I just looked it up last week.
Oh.
I was doing research on a paper for a cat.
Nobody really knows, right? Unless you sit there and
I have no idea how many a cat has.
No, okay. Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like you know a lot more about black cock than you do about white pussy.
That's right. No shut off to the old genius machine.
I know. Dang it.
He saw that one coming.
Yeah, I was like, black cock. I don't know about this.
That's why I try to start it off with like rooster, like a red rooster, they're same as the black rooster. So
Right.
I told my Lisa, my friend, and she's just naive, and she doesn't get it. And then when she does, she just won't start laughing.
That's awesome.
So last 15 minutes, anything you want to talk about? Anything on your mind? Any pet peeves?
No, we got all kinds of pet peeves. I wish I would have
Wait.
prepared a little bit more for pet peeves.
What's chapping your biscuit these days?
Tony.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. There's a lot of stuff chapping my biscuit these days. Let's talk about being quarantined up. Does anybody actually know what's going on besides our friend conspiracy theorists? Do you understand what I'm saying? Nobody actually knows what's going on. What are the actual rules for quarantine? What are the actual...
Well, they're different in each state.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you still look them up, and they're all different. And it's quite irritating. Am I in an essential business? Are you? Are we? Are the police? Are the grocery stores?
Are the drive-through coffee places?
Well, and that's it. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. Like I had this theory last night that Corona, it was made to kind of wipe out Donald Trump and everybody that, Republican basically. And I was thinking if If it would have killed Donald Trump, it kind of would have mellowed out a little bit. Yeah, it's still dangerous, but it wouldn't be so
Well,
traumatic.
it's killing
if
off
it
all
would've
the
just killed
elderly
him right
voters
away.
who have a tendency to vote conservative.
Well,
So it is doing that.
I'll tell you what, man. Anybody who knows me knows that I shy away from the politics conversation. That's just my views are my own. I just want America to run great. I don't want to say make America great again, But I don't lean one way or the other really hard. But I'll tell you what, the Democrats are going to have a rough time if they think Bernie Sanders is going to be the answer to their stuff. I think we're right now experiencing a little bit of what it'd be like if Bernie were to run the country. And that it's a scary time right now for a lot of people. My mom and dad, I was talking to them. My dad is 87 now. My mom's just 84. And talking to them, and I was like, so how do you guys feel about this? They're like, this isn't the first one of these we've been through. I'm like, and I try to think back in my lifetime, and I think this is one of the first nationwide shutdowns. I wasn't nervous.
Well, they've never shut it down before like this. When swine flu, N1H1, when SARS, when all that stuff came through, they didn't do what they're doing on this one.
like
I don't know if that's because of Trump. I don't know if that's because of the media. I have no idea where it's coming from. But, everybody's blaming Trump for everything.
Well, and that's the popular thing.
You stubbed your toe this morning, and that was Trump's fault.
And that shouldn't be the way it is either. Like I said, whether I'm a fan or not.
You have a 30-year politician blaming a guy who's been in office 2 years.
Yeah, I'm like,
for everything. And it's like, you've been in for 30 years. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you've been in mooching off the system. I saw this meme. It said that 1% of America are millionaires. The rest of us are, hardworking people.
Yeah.
Not saying that millionaires aren't hardworking, but Congress, 50% of Congress are millionaires.
Right.
Yeah. And
That's
it's like
ridiculous.
It's like, oh, we're in the wrong business. We need to get elected.
Well, and that's the whole thing, and so I'm trying. It's hard for me to stay positive right now about all this stuff. She has to what?
She had to burp. She wanted me to mute her mic.
I thought she said. I thought she said she had to poop.
That's what I thought at first too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow.
It's like,
He just covered it up. I did say that.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a crazy time, and this is a bounty hunter podcast, and we've talked absolutely nothing about bounty hunting other than for your ex-wife 4 times. What's funny is the last time the second time we caught her, there was no way you were going to bail her back out. So I made sure that she bailed out with the other company that we caught for, so that we could do it. Not that, I was like, hey, these guys won't revoke you. They won't put you back in jail. They'll give you plenty of opportunities. And they did. And she still fucked it up. And we still caught her. And then they bailed her out another time.
But she's just a special, a little bit of follow up to that too. I've got actually, if you guys are interested, is she got caught the last time. And she served out whatever little time she had. During this other time, she bleeding hard. I've got stuff going on with children. I've got, my life is bad. This is what's going on. Please, she didn't show up for one of the court dates for her child. She didn't show up to, which is where she has one of her warrants.
Is that Bruno?
Yeah.
And that's one of Rex's dogs snoring at his feet. If you hear that.
He's funny. She didn't show up for any of the court dates. She lost custody of the child to the father.
Wait, let's talk about that post going around about her daughter missing. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was
recently, right?
Yeah, well, that was Jason originally.
Well, she was on the run with her, and she didn't have custody of her.
Right.
And there was a child endangerment.
Yeah, the whole thing was Megan never had custody of her daughter. Not one single time had full physical or come on, we all have kids that we don't take care of physical and but she couldn't she's not the decision maker. She shouldn't be living with him physically. She had visitation And Jason was
she was living in a tent with her. Remember?
Right.
I mean, if you think about it from a bail bond perspective, from me being the outsider, not knowing anything about this woman the first time, in the first video, she's living in a tent behind a woman's house, and we found the tent, but she was gone. And, I'm like, this is a shitty bond. And then the next time she's living at her boyfriend's house, and she wasn't. Yeah. She was living somewhere else. She was staying at a house out in Hayden Lake.
Yeah.
And then the third time she wasn't where she was supposed to be. No, the third time she was where she was supposed to be, which was that dude's house.
She is.
And then the last time we caught her, we had to set her up on a Facebook ruse and caught her at the state line on a ruse of buying pants off of Facebook ad. So she was only one time out of 4 was she ever where she was supposed to be. So she was never a good bond in the first place.
The only reason
and her mom was a worthless cosigner.
Oh yeah, well that goes without saying. The only reason she was a good bond is, to this day, we'd go out and find her right now. We'd have her in 20 minutes if we really wanted to. But she's in Washington, and there's no money in it for us, so why would we do anything about it?
Which is why bail works, because now she's sentenced. It's in the government's hand, and she's not being held accountable for her actions. She's in violation of her probation, which they should have never given her in the first place, considering she had 4 or 5 FTAs.
Agreed.
So the system really failed. It takes no consideration of the victim.
And let me tell you, I've known Megan is, I fear nothing, but she is the scariest person I know. She's very manipulative. I could tell you the stories of when I'll tell you a quick story. We were when we were married, and this was back in mid-90s. She comes home with the kids, and I took the last of our money and bought her a latte. I got paid the next day or whatever. You know what I mean? And she got pissed, and she took that latte, dumped it all over her arm, called the cops, told them that I dumped hot coffee on her, and that I punched her in the face while she whacked her head against the side of the door frame twice. Oh. I was like, what? And so I tried to boogie out of there because I know there's no way they're believing the dude at this time. And almost made it to state line before they got me. But, I mean, she lied about it, had to do it, still have a protection order, still have a case going on in Washington about it, and that is from 96.
Well, Jax hates her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that says a lot that one of the stepkids.
Jax has every right.
And you guys weren't even married that long, right?
No, I just over a year, still got it annulled. So, yeah, not even divorced, annulled.
So who was thinking, Big Rex or Little Rex?
She just portrayed herself different at that time. I'd known her, you got to understand, I'd known her 10 years by this point. And she wasn't like that. I didn't realize that what she was like until we got...
There's a lot of, I was reading comments on her videos, and people were
Little Rex.
Little Rex. And people were asking, why would you bail her out if she did you so wrong? And I replied to people's comments, I'm like, because Rex puts all the bad aside. Because Rex is generally, you're a nice person. Yeah. People were asking, well, if she did you so wrong, why you bail her out? Oh, you're just a controlling freak. You want to.
I can answer that question.
Yeah,
that's easy.
It.
So why would I bail her out? So here's 2 things, man. Is the past is the past. Anything past 2 years ago is a lifetime ago. So I don't give a fuck. You can do me wrong. You can owe me money. You can do whatever. Now in this business, Megan, you just got to know what you're dealing with. And I knew exactly the type crazy she was. So it was easy for me. And I honestly give a fuck about her past or anything like that. Just like if I cared that much about these pasts, I'd never bail anybody out. Ever. You know what I mean?
Well, you're the only person that bails out half the people in the jail.
Yeah.
There's people that nobody will touch in that you'll bail them out.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get burned. Sometimes it works out.
You just got to take every case. This bail bond is a weird deal. There's no set definition of what you have to do. Okay, they have to have this. They have to have this. They have to have this. There's none of that there. You got to listen to their story. You've got to decide if that story makes sense.
It's accurate.
And just kind of go from there. And it's all in your gut. If you take everyone like, well, nope, they don't have this. Nope, well, they don't have that. Then I can't you'll never
Yeah,
never make
and
any
then
money.
it's bad business if you always like, well, this person did this many years ago. I don't want to do it because
Yeah.
That's
know,
why
it's
everybody
all
always tells
business.
me, Scott, you'd be a horrible. You if you're gonna write bonds, you can't think like a bounty hunter when you're writing bonds.
No, you can't.
Because if you think like a bounty hunter writing
won't
bonds,
make money.
you'll never write a bond.
You'll never ever write.
Because you'll be like, oh no fucking way, I'm bailing this dude out. In
Someone's
numbers,
gonna have to chase them later.
in numbers, I mean, where are your numbers sitting at with the amount of people that FTA versus what you write? I mean, are you?
Oh, I'm 10%.
Yeah, well, that's industry. That's
Yeah,
industry
it's
standard.
standard.
Unless it's Colorado, then it's 30 or 40%
Yeah.
because it's so competitive. But 10% is right where it should be.
That's the way I do. I figure out of I wrote 378 bonds last year. I had just over 41 or 42 forfeitures, and a lot of them just handled them themselves.
That's
got
about
picked up.
12%. Yeah, the majority of them. I mean, Kootenai County is so good at getting warrants that a lot of times you'll get a forfeiture notice on Wednesday or Thursday, and by Sunday they're sitting in jail because
Yeah.
the cops here do their job. Not like when I worked Washington, nobody's looking for anybody with a warrant.
No,
They don't do it. But Kootenai, Idaho is totally different. Idaho, which is why I always try and get the forfeitures as fast as possible, because if you give them through the weekend, there's going to be some bored cop that pulls it up on his computer and he's got a red dot with everybody with a warrant.
yeah,
And he's got nothing better to do. So the cops here are
got
way
those.
better than the cops in Washington State.
they got those auto license readers, so they just pull through traffic and bing, 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 bing.
Oh,
and-
yeah. She was doing a ride along with a local police department, and they got a call that a truck was stolen out of some other state.
Yep.
Was driving down the road, and they all got on the highway. They pulled it over, and
It was stolen from Canada, and it wasn't the truck; it was the trailer that
Oh.
was stolen.
And what they
And-
bust them?
Yeah, I have like pictures of everything. So what happened was there was
and that's all off the license plate. There's there's at least two
readers,
license plate
and
readers
we pulled
on
up,
90.
And by that time, the guy was wearing a turban. He's from Canada. He was, what do you call those people?
He's a Sikh. He's
yeah,
Indian.
a Sikh, yeah.
Yep.
And he, I don't know the whole story. I need to ask him for an update on what happened. But yeah, by the time we got there, he was in cuffs. They were
It
searching
made Coeur
him.
d'Alene Press too. It made the local news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything makes local news here.
So
if
like
it's exciting.
every time we drive down like the highway, we're like, "Where's these cameras? Like, I want to know."
Well,
Like,
I'd like to know too.
I can point them out for you. They're real
Yeah,
obvious.
there's
Yeah,
only
well, I
two.
think I know where the one is.
Southeast?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yep, that one.
Southeast, north, or east and west.
Yeah. So
And then
Yeah.
I think there's one right before you go over the pass, like 4th Street. I think
could be.
there's one there.
And they're more coming. I talked to a couple Coeur d'Alene cops. Said they're putting more and more of those in
Yeah,
because they're actually
They're working.
Yeah, fine by me.
Yeah, it just puts more people in jail for you.
Please.
that
Get
gets-
some of these people in jail. I talked to my attorney today. He said they're not arresting anybody.
yeah, it's a crazy time. So if this all craps out and doesn't recover, what are you gonna do?
Be a stripper for me.
Male prostitute.
See,
I don't
at
know.
least somebody's with me on the
Yeah.
prostitute side.
Yeah, I don't know. Something to make money. Stacey and I have plans and stuff like that. We just had planned to interact them maybe at a later date. We just may have to move everything forward and just have to hustle. You know what I mean? That's all it is. We don't know. Something.
How's your TP level?
Dude, we are holding strong.
Eggs?
Strong.
You liking gas prices?
Strong.
Yeah, gas prices under $2 now.
Yeah,
Not
$1.76.
in Washington though.
Yep, $1.76 over here.
Yeah. When we were
Yeah, we went to.
99 cents on the Gulf state.
I know, right?
We paid like $1 a gallon because we shop at Safeway and Albertsons a lot, and we
Yep.
have the membership, and I got like 70 cents off each gallon.
Nice.
I was like, wow. I was like, is that real? Is my dyslexic like bothering like? But no, after I looked at 3C, I was like, wow.
Well, we're over our hour now. See, you didn't think we were going to find enough stuff to talk about, and all we got to do is start talking. But we've got to do this again.
We will. We should.
We gotta definitely do this again.
Yeah, we'll do it again and figure out all the fun stuff that we missed this time.
Yeah.
Maybe Tiger King Part 2.
There's my
Yeah.
music for Tiger King. So, you think you can convince world famous Animal to come do this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you kidding?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've met Animal.
Yes, of course. So, hey, check us out on Instagram, Bounty Hunter Bootcamp 1. and Facebook, Bounty Hunter Bootcamp, and make sure you're following the podcast on YouTube as well. Our podcasts are on demand on YouTube if you want to check it out. And anything you want to plug?
Hey, All Freedom Bail Bonds on Facebook. Find us.
Yeah.
Like us.
Didn't somebody call you once that saw the number on the in the video, didn't think it was real?
Yep.
And called you and
Yep,
was like,
dude, that was crazy. I just want to see this is a real number. You're doing a great job. Thanks, buddy.
anyway, save 10% on Safe Life defense on your ballistic vests and ballistic for your ballistic vest. 10% Bounty Hunter 10 saves you 10% on that. PatriotEye is Bounty Hunter 20. Patch panel is Bounty Hunter 20. Olight is Bounty Hunter, saves you 10% on your purchases. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you guys again next week.